take the presumptive frontrunners in this race and you Google their names next to corruption, and I will posit to you that Senator Carter is the only frontrunner in this race who has nothing of ill taste that comes up when you Google corruption with her name. Number two, she has a proven track record. Of all the candidates, she has the strongest legislative track record, over 300 plus bills, either sponsored or co-sponsored. She was a lead sponsor on 52 bills. Last year was named by 3 different news sources as the most effective legislator in the state of Maryland, and was voted by the Baltimore Sun as runner-up for Maryland of the year. She only lost to the Honorable Elijah Cummings. Third, she's funded by the people. So you look at a lot of these other candidates in their coffers, they're funded by establishment people. And you know, when you're funded by the establishment people and corporations, you're not beholden to the people, you're beholden to your owners, donors, and controllers. And I also want to say that she is truly the most honest candidate. And it's funny because I heard Maya Cummings say one time that during the Muslim travel ban, she went to BWI and she stood with the people. Well, I posit to you that's not enough. Senator Carter actually stood with the ACLU and legally challenged the Muslim travel ban. So this is really at the heart, the difference between Senator Carter and the other candidates.
Thank you. Thank you. Next question. I hear you guys talking about all of these accomplishments legislatively on the state level. On the state level. We're not talking about the state. We're talking about the United States Congress. What kind of experience does your candidates have with moving legislation in the House?
So let me just say this. This is Shaquille Carter representing State Senator Jill Carter. Jill Carter, as soon as she got to the Maryland House of Delegates, one of the first things she did when the legislature passed Thornton, which was supposed to put more money into our schools, and if it was effective, we wouldn't need Kerwin right now. Let's just be clear. She saw back then, over 15 years ago, that it wasn't enough for Baltimore City Public Schools, and she actually went to her colleagues. They would not change, they would not fight to get more funding for Baltimore City Public Schools. So she went to the courts as a trained attorney to do that. And so because she did that, she was somewhat of a pariah when it came to the Democratic establishment, and she was maligned. I mean, at one point when she challenged the, and I have to say, the white leadership in Annapolis, when they wanted to have every person arrested give their DNA, which is unconstitutional, Jill killed that bill, and they put her off the committee. So I'm going to answer the question. Although she was maligned, although she was a pariah, although she wasn't a part of the establishment, she still got 52 bills passed as lead sponsor, over 300 bills passed as either lead or co-sponsor.
In the House, in the General Assembly for Maryland.
Yes, ma'am. In the
Yes,
General
the
Assembly.
question was,
Let's go to
what have they done to
let's go to him next. Mr. Hanson.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear House. I thought
No, you had your
talking
answer,
about
man. I'm
House
sorry. We can't double on one answer. We got to go to this guy.
So Delegate Branch went worked with former Congressman Perrin Mitchell. He went down to Capitol Hill to work on legislation for that direct district level legislation to benefit the district, and for Congressman Perrin J. Mitchell. So his experience, as far as he knows how to move a piece of legislation through D.C., he knows how it works down there. He knows, and even in still to this day, as House Majority Whip, and for his 25 years as in the House of Delegates, he works with the congressional leadership now, the congressional delegation. He works with those guys, and so he for the better for Maryland. So this is, as far as experience, he has experience. Not only does he have all the years of experience in the House of Delegates in Maryland, but he also has the necessary experience to go down to D.C. and bring home the bacon.
Thank you. Haki, I mean, Dr. Maya Cummings, MayaForCongress.com. Well, I'll say that the difference is with Dr. Maya, she actually met Congressman Elijah Cummings while she worked on the Hills. Her dissertation, where she interviewed Congressman Elijah Cummings, was related to much of the work that she later was doing. And I'll speak, she has testified on both sides of the House, and that's what you're saying, the Congress, as well as the Senate level. And she knows DC like right now. Like, she has relationships right now that unfortunately no other candidate can claim at this particular time to actually have. And that's most relevant running Congressman Charlie Rangel's office. And so those kinds of things are important when you're talking about, on a congressional level, having these national and international relationships. And she has an independent business Global Policy Solutions, where she started at the federal level as well as state and local level. So those are some of the things that distinguishes her in this race.
Okay, my next question would be, what is your candidate's plan?
Speak up a little bit.
What is your candidate's plan, their actual plan, to bring resources back to the 7th District? And remember, these candidates will be freshman congresspeople.
Well, what I will say to that, and as you mentioned, freshmen, some, not all freshmen are created equal. Let's just kind of clear that. And if we look at what's happening in Congress right now with what's called the squad, or as Trump called them, the squad, they have drove this impeachment. And I believe that, Dr. Maya, she's going to be, kind of someone that people are looking at, and they're going to be watching her. And I think that she's going to be standing strong in what she knows. And being the only policy expert, has a PhD in political science, she understands the leverage of those committees and power. Now, you spoke about, as some people would like to say, that committees, people just don't go and get a committee seat. I understand that. And you have to kind of go through a process to get that. So it's going to be a process, of course, but we have to look towards the future. And that's what I believe. Helen Houghton said it best today. She said, we have to look towards the future. And I believe, as me personally, I'm looking towards the future, not like the past. And we're going to make a change in Baltimore.
All right. So with Delegate,
Say your name.
My name is Andy Pierre. With Delegate Thomas Branch's campaign. And so now, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, there's a committee structure. It's very important. I would beg to differ as far as Dr. Maya Rocketmore Cummings being the only policy expert, but because my guy does have 25 years of experience, that does make him an expert. And so, but at the end of the day, like now, Delegate Branch, he has 25 years of experience working on a budgetary committee. Now, with these committee assignments, there, like what your expertise is and your background does play a huge role as to where you are assigned. Now, is there a good chance that we'll end up on the budgetary committee? I pray to God so, because that's what we have. That's where the experience is. But regardless of where we land, Delegate Branch already has the relationships with the Maryland delegation, so that it's a matter of teamwork. Policy is teamwork anyway. So you can't do anything on your own. You need to be able to work with your Steny Hoyers and your
And the Harrises.
Andy Harris. Yes. And so, that's something that we can expect from Delegate Branch. We know that he's a team builder, he's a bridge builder, he can work with people, and so that's something that he will be able. That's one thing that's why I'm confident that he'll be able to deliver even from the back bench as a freshman senator. A freshman delegate. A freshman
Congressman.
Yeah.
And so that's
Okay.
So thank you for the question, Shaquille Carter, representing State Senator Joe Carter. So first off, really quick, I just want to say,
Speaking to that mic now,
that in politics there are no permanent friends and there are no permanent enemies. When we're talking about relationships on the Hill, there's really only the issue. And there is an old saying that says there is a difference between knowing that a rose has thorns and being pricked by the thorns on a rose. So only actual legislators can be experts in something that in that area. And I would posit to you that if you've never legislated anything, there's no way that you could be an expert in something that you've never actually done.
Yes.
And Jill Carter and Delegate Thomas Branch have actually been legislators, and they know the ways and the ropes and how things go. But I think in terms of actually bringing resources back to Baltimore, I think one of the first things you could do as a freshman legislator in the House is look at the bills and co-sponsor the bills that already have money and resources attached to them. So for instance, there's a transportation bill that's actually in committee right now in the Transportation Committee in the House of Representatives that Senator Carter has talked about. And in that bill is money and resources to update infrastructure in cities in America. And Baltimore is a city, one of the oldest cities in the country, might I add, and our infrastructure is suffering. Also, she says she's going to be a day one supporter of the Green New Deal, and she will fight and champion, as she always has done, to make sure that the resources in that bill, should it be passed through the House and the Senate and become law, those resources come to Baltimore. And it's not just about making our world healthier and greener, but it's also jobs and economics attached to that. So that's how she'll bring resources back to the district.
Great.
last question. You got 3 minutes. Last question, 3 minutes.
My last question for you gentlemen is,
Speak up.
what is your candidate's particular plan to help reduce the level of homelessness? There is a very high rate of homelessness in the 7th District. I don't want to know theoretically or hypothetically. I want to know, what is their particular plan? Let's start with Hakeem.
Well, certainly, I would say that, one thing that Dr. Maya was unique in her understanding is her understanding of about wealth disparities. She has worked tremendously on the Hill in Congress on wealth disparities. And one thing that I've had conversations about her with, and she authored several pieces of body of work dealing with understanding Black wealth. And now that is critical with understanding that we need businesses that are going to create these opportunities and to employ our people. I mean, housing, people are going to have to work. I mean, people would rather have, and not to suggest that, there are people that work that actually still don't have a house. We need livable wage. And she has, said that she would support the $15 minimum wage. But the key point that I know about her in the context of her unique experience is her understanding of wealth disparities in America. And no one else running can say that they have a better understanding of that. So that's what I'll just lead to.
So,
Speaking to the mic now. To the mic.
This is Andy Pierre with Delegate Talmadge Branch. So, when it comes down to housing and homelessness, one thing that our Delegate Branch will be doing is working with, your community leaders, your elected officials in the city and in the counties to make sure the money gets to those programs that are doing the work. To make sure that, because that's really what a congressman can do, is to make sure the federal government puts the money where it needs to go. And so that's what we can expect Delegate Branch to do.
Got 90 seconds.
Yes, thank you for the question. Shaquille Cobbin, representing State Senator Jill Carter. First off, we need to fix the lead poison epidemic that we have going on in our city, which causes permanent brain damage and leaves a lot of people to not be able to work and afford a life for themselves, which is an issue that Senator Carter has championed already. The next thing is we need to fight to get resources on a federal level so that Baltimore can expand its public housing program, because as you know, right now, Baltimore City is no longer accepting people in public housing or Section 8, and those programs are critical to putting roofs over people here. We can't expect people to be healthy and go to work and do anything if they don't have a place to live. The third thing I want to say is what made Senator Carter run for office, before she became a delegate, she went down to Annapolis to fight minority business enterprise contracts being open to white men in rural areas. And so she will be a day one supporter of expanding on what Perrin Mitchell did, the first Black congressman in the state of Maryland and for the 7th District, to expand those minority business contracts so we can open businesses in the Black community, and those businesses will create jobs, which will create wealth, which will end homelessness.
We got 30 seconds. Everybody give the websites of where people can find your campaign and the events. 30 seconds.
Certainly, Dr. Maya Cummings, MayaForCongress.com, Hakiyami, vote.
This is Andy Pierre with Delegate Talmadge Branch. His website is branchforcongress.com.
Senator Jill Carter, JillCarterForCongress.com, Jill P. Carter for Congress on Facebook, Jill Carter on Instagram, and let's work to get Jill on the Hill February 1st.
Okay,
February 4th.
Miss Fran Allen, could you take us to break?
All right, and here we go. This is WOLB 1010 live. Call in 410-481-1010, 410-481-1010, and we'll be back.
Okay, guys, you guys are done.